It's one of those times, like I said, we do not take anything personal right here on this program. It's the campaign season. So any day we can actually talk about any of the presidential candidates right here. And it depends on the story, or rather the news that is trending at the moment. Now, the interesting thing per se, though, is that we'll be getting to hear backlashes from most of these presidential candidates, because this is the time where they need to make sure that their opponents look weak, or they feel that there are loopholes in whatever it is their opponent says or documents they put out there, so they take it as an opportunity to boost their own campaign processes or campaign efforts. Now, but we need to talk about some of these issues and try to be objective about it, so that we understand that in as much as it's all about a competition between one opponent or one person and another person, well, whatever it is your opponent is saying, is it the truth? Do you agree with whatever it is your opponent is saying or the opposition party is saying about your party or about your manifesto or about your principles? And how can we believe most of the things that you read out there? So that's basically why I'm saying that when we come here on issues in the news, we try to look at the issues on both sides. Now, every sector of the country is what is discussed here, and of course we usually bring in intellectual and professional grounded personalities to give in-depth analysis of these issues, which in turn of course elicits your reaction. Now, what is the conversation today? The Presidential Campaign Council of the ruling All Progressives Congress disclosed yesterday that the just unveiled policy document of the Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi offers nothing refreshing to Nigeria. Now, why did they say so? They said that the party's document, that is the Labour Party's manifesto action plan, termed action plan, they say that it is shamelessly parroted from Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu's manifesto, meaning that it was a regurgitated copy of what Tinubu put out there in his own manifesto. So this is what they actually say is a problem with the Labour Party's manifesto. The Campaign Council, in a statement by its Director, Media and Publicity, Bayo Onanuga, in Abuja on Tuesday, which was yesterday, said that aside from falling short of expectation, the Labour Party policy document is a poor imitation and regurgitation of what the current APC-led administration of President Muhammadu Buhari is doing. Now, it is left for you to determine if that is true, if what the statement they said is actually true, based on Peter Obi's recently released manifesto. Now, APC noted that with the document reeled out by Obi and his running mate Ahmed Dati, it was clear that the Labour Party candidates, again, this is what the All Progressives Congress Presidential Campaign Council is saying, that it is clear that the Labour Party candidates are ill-prepared for the titanic task of governing a country the size of Nigeria. They're saying it is not about the state alone, which Peter Obi governed when he was a governor, that's Anambra State, but they're saying that the party is incapable of really ruling the country with what they read in Peter Obi's manifesto. Now, they faulted the document, alleging that Obi's document contains fallacies and false statistics. Now, yesterday, Peter Obi was in Imo State and he conducted a rally. I'd like us to listen to what he said that he will do, the promises he reeled out while at Imo State yesterday. Let's take a listen to him.
We will sit down and negotiate. We will talk to the
So that was Peter Obi at the rally yesterday, and you heard what he talked about, how he was going to deal with the consistent strike that we usually experience in our universities. So he's saying that he's going to go about it with dialogue. There'll be no more strike. There'll be more export and production than import and consumption, and of course promising as well that we will have a good security system in the country. All of this is basically what he promised, which are normally the words that most of the presidential candidates will reel out now that the campaign season is on, and the idea is that these are the endemic problems and challenges that Nigeria is currently going through. So how do you provide succor to Nigerians and promise them that they're going to have a prosperous 2023, or we're going to begin to see a decline in most of the challenges that we're currently experiencing? Now, I had to speak with one of the national spokesperson of the Labour Party as regards what the All Progressives Congress Presidential Campaign Council said about the Labour Party's manifesto, where they disparaged the manifesto and what it stands for by calling it a regurgitated copycat of what Bola Ahmed Tinubu's presidential council had put out in their own manifesto, and possibly what the Buhari administration had actually promised they will do. In the name of Dele Farotimi, he's one of the Labour Party spokesperson at the national level, and it was quite an extensive interview. Because of time, I do not know if we can take all of the interview, but let's take a listen to him, and then of course you will now react based on what he said and based on what the APC Presidential Campaign Council has actually stated.
Funny when a man who is shamelessly soiled with fecal matters begins to point accusing fingers at a man's oil stain on his shirt. In the first place, we don't even have any oil stain on our shirt. But it is rather ironic that the APC, which has superintended the most ruinous period in the life of this country, predicated on well-written nonsense labeled as Manifesto, both in 2015 and in 2019, which has again been rebranded another tissue of life stitched together to hate the emergence of another disaster for Nigeria. It's very funny that these are the people now pointing fingers and talking about the manifesto, over which considerable work, ideological arguments, and planning took place. They are complaining that a phrase action plan, who patented action plan, this is lip speaking of the most ridiculous level. And when you are done looking at the persons making these allegations, let's now look at the reality of what they have bestowed on Nigeria. We've had 7 years, going on 8, of an APC administration running, or should I say ruining Nigeria. It destroyed Nigeria almost beyond repairs, and they have the gall to even presume to criticize a manifesto put together in the hope that we might be able to repair Nigeria. In all honesty, if we were in a climb where people are moved by reason, the APC should be too ashamed to even be issuing statements. They should be too ashamed. Each and every one of the promises in their manifesto in 2015, they either disowned or failed to deliver on. They've ruined this country. Whatever metric you might be using to measure, they have ruined and almost destroyed this country beyond repair. So it's actually quite asinine in the extreme to have anyone say that somebody, like anyone connected to APC, is talking about somebody copying. What is there to copy in this? Disaster? I'm sorry, that argument is actually invalid, in all honesty.
All right, sir, but there are critics, since the Labour Party manifesto was disclosed, who say that they took a while to display their manifesto, that they could possibly have put the manifesto together because they were pressured to do so when a lot of people were clamoring, we want to see your manifesto, we want to see your manifesto. What do you say to that?
People can say anything they like since they don't have any substance to cling to. But here is the thing. Peter Obi, as a member of the Labour Party, and a lot of us who have become members today on account of our hope that we might be able to have Nigerians elect Peter Obi. The journey in the Labour Party is less than a year for almost everyone. The Labour Party is decidedly leftist in its ideology. So what you have today is a situation where the Labour Party is akin to the Nadeco of old, where people are persuaded by the overarching need to save Nigeria to come together. Now, in coming together and the relative newness of the people who have come together, you must understand that there was a need to harmonize ideological differences to come up with a document which we can all agree on and believe can be the way into the Nigerian future. You're talking about the PDP and an APC who are more or less the same thing, who have been around forever. They have about 1,001 manifestos in their archives that they can just dust up, copy and paste, and do it all over again. The same people have produced the same manifestos that have brought us to ruination. So if we took time, and the total time that you're talking about is less than 6 months, from the point when Mr. Peter Obi became the candidate of the Labour Party and the process of manifesto writing, negotiations on ideological differences were going, when all these were happening, our rivals were busy just going into they will either have one professor or one research student somewhere, cut and paste together. We were having rigorous debates. And remember that we were having these debates without necessarily having all the information that we require. Because even the National Bureau of Statistics will not provide certain statistics. We don't know what the true unemployment figure in Nigeria is today, for instance. You don't have a clear picture of the debt profile of the country. There are so many things we have to be working to put together before we could come up with a document we feel confident about and that we believe will bring the, and in recent times, the APC. So it might have taken us time, but it didn't take us an inordinate amount of time, and that we have produced one, and it is causing excitement, is because the people know that those who have produced this are people who will stand with their integrity behind the words they have placed on paper. It will not be a party that will turn around and say, no, we didn't say that. Or you see, when we got to power, we found the reality to be different. Or that will be blaming the APC and then the PDP for the next 4 years. No, we have put together what we believe we can deliver on. We have put together what we believe as the priority needs of the Nigerian people. It's not going to be easy. We are not promising El Dorado, but we have delivered on the basis of what we believe are achievable.
All right, sir. Let me ask you this other question. So recently in Imo State at the rally of the Labour Party, the presidential candidate...
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
I said recently at the rally in Imo State, the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, that is your principal, said that there will no longer be strike, meaning that there will be more of dialogue and see how they can straighten issues with the lecturers so they will no longer embark on strike. He also talked about more of production and exportation, meaning that Nigeria would have what is already on ground, that is the quagmire that we have in terms of security, in terms of infrastructure that doesn't enable what he said he's going to do. Do you think it's going to be feasible if he's elected in 2023? Let's give it in the next 2 years.
Well, the beauty of the dual questions you've asked is that in answering the first one, as unrelated as it might seem to the second, you actually find the answer to the first as well, to the second as well. And now what do I mean? Mr. Peter Obi says no more strike. You cannot decree strikes out of existence. However, you can be more proactive and engaging in your relationship with labor to the point where strikes become irrelevant. Let me share a personal experience. I was president of what was considered to be the most militant student union in Nigeria as at that time. I was president of LASU Student Union in 1994. That was at the peak of Abacha. And I dare say that we never, ever once, all through my tenure, embarked on a single protest. Why? We developed an effective dialogue mechanism with the school authorities and every other union that we have to relate with. the ASU, the NASU, the school authority, we had an effective communication strategy. So we spoke to ourselves instead of fighting. When you have identified common purposes and you can work towards those common purposes, if labor knows that all you have is 10 naira, and you open your hand, they see clearly that that is all there is, it becomes easier to negotiate compromises and to find alternatives to the things that usually create log jams. What kind of country are we living in where you have ASU strike going on for over 8 months? That's an entire session lost. So it is a function of the inability to engage that usually leads to strikes. Now, if people are not on strike, obviously they become more productive. But you cannot throw away the fact, I'm not dealing with your second question. If you do not provide security, no matter how ready the people might be to work, especially those who would engage in occupations like farming, like mining, those who would have to be in far-flung parts of the land, remote areas, if there is no security, whatever you've done to improve labor is a waste of time. If you have security and you do not provide an enabling environment, either that be with your fiscal policies, with your infrastructural development, with manpower training that allows the people to be able to take on the jobs that will be created as a function of the relationships to production, all these becomes mere mantras and rhetoric. But my candidate has a clear plan. He says, I want to move Nigeria from consumption to production. That's not rhetoric. There is an actual plan to guide us to that. What is this plan? One, liberalize the power sector in such a way. The regulations are already there to a very large extent. Most of these things are not even things that need to go through the National Assembly. All you need to do is to use policy within the existing framework, and he has promised. He said he will liberalize the electricity sector to the point where you can generate captive power and distribute. We would create the environment to make it possible, and where possible, also give fiscal incentives in terms of tax exemptions and tax holidays to companies engaged in energy production and distribution. He also went on to speak to the integration of the transport system. When you do all of these, you create the environment. If you then layer these on top of a system that upholds the rule of law and there is certainty as to what might happen when there are business disputes between partners, what tends to happen is that there is a natural unbundling of the creative energies and capacities of the people. The biggest challenge for the Nigerian business person, and I speak as a business person as well, is the Nigerian government. Next to that is a vast infrastructural deficit. When you have dealt with these two, to a very large extent, Nigeria might be likened to, I'm old enough to remember what it was like before GSM came. I'm old enough to know when I could go to the west coast of Africa, like Benin Republic, Ghana, and I would find telephoning readily available, and I'll come back to Nigeria and all we have was not enough. You go to NEPA and to Nitel, and you are queuing, you'll be tapping the line before you, but look at what has happened to us today. I'm sat in my bedroom, I'm having a chat with you, you could run a radio station off the back of the technology that was unleashed as a function of the licensing of telecoms. If Abata had remained in power, there would have been no telecom, would have still been all drums that we were in. This is to show you what happens when purposeful leadership comes into play. And even if it's not purposeful, as long as it's not obstructive, because the average Nigerian, you'll find very quickly that the only things working optimally in Nigeria are those things that the government is less involved with. The less involved the government is in an industry in Nigeria, the more productive that industry becomes. So if you're now having a government that says, I will provide the institutional framework for you to do what you are capable of doing, I will offer the support you will need for you to be able to do what you are capable of doing. And this man is not just talking, because the PDP will talk, and they did talk for 16 years until they were kicked out based on the illusion of a change that was sold by the APC, who talked and talked and talked about change without us realizing it was a change for the worse. So today, you have a situation where people have drawn up beautiful plans as usual, and I refer to the PDP and the APC. But what are they building it on top? Lies. Mr. Peter Obi has a record in governance. He spent 8 years. People might bring revisionist arguments as a function of the fact that you today have politics dictating people's conscience instead of the truth. But the 8 years the man spent in office in Anambra, the records are there for anyone to see. He built over 500 kilometers of road within those 8 years. He built a general hospital in each of the local governments. These are verifiable checks, facts that can be checked. A general hospital in each local government in Anambra State in 8 years. He upgraded all the schools, teaching hospitals, 2 of them, in 8 years. He left savings, $150 million, $50 million in 3 different banks. He left savings after he's done all of this. Look, Mr. Peter Obi is not Voltron, and he's certainly not going to be a saint if he's a Nigerian. I'm not a saint, I'm a Nigerian. But one thing I can tell you is this: comparing Peter Obi's integrity to that of either of the 2 other contestants, 2 main contestants, I should say, is day and night. You can take the man at his word. What we have placed on the table as a manifesto is a compendium of what we believe are achievable, and we can be held to that.
So you heard one of the APC's national the Labour Party national spokesperson, Dele Faritimi, and he stated that anybody can say what they want to say, but however, one has All Progressives Congress with all their mandates and all their manifestos. How realistic have most of the things they promised way back in 2015, as well as the second dispensation? What exactly has transpired? After all, everything has gotten for the worse. And the All Progressives Congress presidential candidate is saying that there is no other contender, that he is the only contender to beat, that he doesn't consider any opposition whatsoever. All he believes in is the fact that he is the standard flag bearer. He is the one to beat in next year's election. There is no other contender for the highest office who can match his record. All right. And he made the statement he talked about when it comes to wealth creation in the economy. These were basically the things he rolled out during a recent interview with the BBC. And we need to ask ourselves this question: with what the All Progressives Congress Presidential Campaign Council have talked about Peter Obi's manifesto, how true is that? Politicians, all right, the campaign is just basically it. It doesn't mean that there is any bad blood between these individuals. After all, Peter Obi was once a member of the People's Democratic Party. He was also a member of APGA, and now he's a member of Labour Party. All right, so it's almost like they all understand themselves. But right now is the campaign season, and so it's who do I beat and how do I beat this person down? We have serious challenges in the country when it comes to education, when it comes to economy, when it comes to security, when it even comes to ethnic issues, which are basic endemic issues. Now the question is, how realistic will these presidential candidates be able to resolve these problems? Way back in 2015, as well as in 2019, during the campaign, especially of this present administration, they made a lot of promises. In fact, at the moment, Nigerians were desperate for something different from what was going on, because I remember that was the time the whole Chibok girls abduction took place. And so it was like anybody older than former President Jonathan at the time. And so that was when Buhari came to power. And if you recall, when he came to power, security was what he promised. He said there will no longer be fuel scarcity. He also talked about no longer strikes going on in public academic institutions. However, these circumstances which they came and met and they promised they would resolve and straighten out were one of the most challenging sectors where they had issues to straighten out, eventually when they came on board. And so they're having to say that the Labour Party is not structured enough and does not even understand what politics entails, and they are not ready to take on the challenges of the country at the moment. How do we know? How do we actually say that they are right or wrong? Then Peter Obi has promised. You heard him at the rally in Imo State. I played that out right here, where he said there will no longer be ASO strike. We're no longer going to be experiencing that. We'll have more of production, more of exportation rather than consumption and importation. But then there are real issues. In as much as these promises are coming out there, how do they intend to implement it? Okay, so currently we're streaming live right now on YouTube. You can send in your comments based on the conversation we're having this morning. The APC blasted the Labour Party's manifesto, calling it a total washout. They actually said that the manifesto reeks of nothing sincere, has no system of being true, and they actually say that is basically a regurgitation of the APC's manifesto, or what the All Progressives Congress stated as their blueprint through which they're going to lead the country with. So they basically say that there are so many lies embedded in the manifesto of the Labour Party. So right now, I need your reaction to that and an objective purview based on what you heard one of the national spokespersons say and what you heard Peter Obi say at the rally, and of course what the All Progressives Congress Presidential Campaign Council has said. The number to call is 0700 903 903 903. We're streaming live on YouTube as well, so you can go on there and send in your comments. If you know you cannot actually call in the program, you can virtually be part of us, sending your comments on there as well. And on WhatsApp.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
So whether ideology or anything, we are not interested. What we are interested is the main issue that we have in this country.
Mm-hmm.
And the basic problem we have is the problem of honesty among our leaders. Our leaders, many of them are not honest, and that is what we are facing in the country presently. You see, over time, PDP, APC, to me, they have lied. Serially, they have been telling us lies. All that PDP promised us twice that they were in power, we did not see any of this come to fruition. All that APC promised us even is worse than PDP. So as we speak right now, we know the problem of our country is getting honest leaders, somebody who we can hold by his word. You see, paperwork has never been the problem of this country. I tell you, sir, if you go to Aso Rock and see white papers, see even what do you call it now, the constitutional conference we did in this country, these were leaders promising us all this. We came together, all these things were done. After all, they were thrown into the trash bin. So if you go to Aso Rock, you see that we don't have problem of papers. We don't have problem of paperwork or ideology or anything. But the fact is that our leaders have been very, very dishonest, and that is the problem we have. So right now, as we speak, Nigerians are looking for a honest person. It's not about the manifesto. We are not interested in the manifesto. Manifesto, these are things that they gather some professors, they just try to deceive the people. We are not interested. What we are interested in right now is people who are honest, who by their track record, we can assume that this person should be honest. Let's give him a trial. Which we have given PDP, we have given APC, they continue to fail us. If you look at everything that is going on every day by day, things are getting worse by their policies. So I don't understand what these people, okay, like yesterday I tried to call in, I could not get in. When the APC flag bearer was calling us, he said he has a team of, what do you call it now, experts and intelligent people that was to work with, that are to work with him. So every of these political parties, they have people like that. But I wanted to ask that question yesterday. These people are there, and the country is falling apart. Because I've not seen it. Why can't all these people, but Zabi Amenga is in government, all those 4 people you mentioned, they are all in government. So if they cannot bring that expertise, that intelligence they have to bear on a country that is crashing every day by day right now, under the same party, what is the truth that what they are telling, what they are coming to do is we change anything in Nigeria?
All right.
So by now the country is going down. So if they have all these people are so good, let them give Buhari the idea. Let them have the same APC to make Nigeria better. but they are not doing so. So could we say, okay, these people are not patriotic? Because if they have the idea and the country is crashing like this and all of them are watching it like a film, they mean that they are not patriotic. If they are patriotic, let them assist this very government right now that is crashing the whole country.
All right,
and
thank
then
you.
to get the country out of the problem.
Thank you. Thank you so much for calling on the program. 0700 903 903 903 903. That is the number to call. 0700 903 903 903. Hello, good morning.
Hello, Esther, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Fine.
All right.
I'm
Name?
Ben, I'm calling from.
Okay, Ben, calling
I'm calling from Eba.
from Iba.
Yes,
All right.
from Iba.
All right. Go ahead, Ben.
If you listen to what the APC say, this is just their strategy because they don't have anything to offer. Everything P2B is said in his manifesto is what they have done. What P2B have done, that is his character. He has done it in Anambra State. I am from Anambra. P2B have done it. Use production of ogo, vegetable to rule the state, to raise money. All those money you see that he was. The thing is, he planted, he exported. Ogo can grow anywhere in Nigeria. People do use Ogo. He was exporting Ogo every day, and he made millions of dollars from Ogo business. He did it. He engaged everybody in Anambra into production. He did it. He was always working. I remember when I traveled for my traditional marriage, 2007. Because that time we were worshiping in Ngige. The way Ngige was working with persecution. Then my family, everybody was telling me that this man is better than Ngige. I said, what? Only 1 year in office, 2007. They say he has outclassed Ngige. That road everywhere, school, teachers, that. My brothers that were working with the Anambra State Ministry say that they have received their salary. They owe them for years. They say them teachers have started going to school. It will be with sweet. You look at APC, look at Aburi in Lagos, what they have done to youth in Lagos. People that buy buses for business, they don't make money. Each bus will be spending about 12,000, 8,000, 10,000 on daily basis. Even Keke Okada, they have nothing to offer. All these people are crying. When somebody spends millions to buy a motor, they will have everywhere. Beating in the night, drive motor in the night, they break their glass. This is what they have achieved in Lagos State. And this is what they want to come and do in Nigeria. And what have you done in the 8 years when you ruled Lagos State? I know when you took over from Buba Mawa walked. If you can compare Mawa with Fashola, you can compare Mawa with this man, with Jakande.
Hello?
A military ruler.
Okay.
Mawa walked. And it was that work with Tinubu inherited. 7 years in Tinubu's regime, he did not do anything. Rather, he introduced MOC to collect money from every vehicle, 1,000 that time. And that is what they achieved. The APC have no.
All right, thank you for calling. All right, 0700 903 903 903. That is the number to call. 0700 903 903 903. You can also send a WhatsApp message on 0700 903 9039. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning, how are you?
Let me know this.
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Your name and location, please.
My name is Olusegun.
All right, Olusegun.
Yeah, I'm calling from Ojota.
From Ojota.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead,
Sorry, there
please.
is something that is bothering me,
Okay.
which I would like to contribute concerning this issue of ASU and the federal government. Because
Yes.
I remember when I don't know, maybe your guest is talking about something concerning that ASU or whatever. To me, I don't think that the federal government is guilty, because if you have to go to the labor law, the ASU are the people that are making a very great mistake. You cannot be fighting the federal government and why you are on strike. Yes, they should go to the labor law. I believe
You say you cannot be fighting with the federal government while they're on strike.
Yes.
I don't
Because
understand.
I
How are they fighting with the federal government? They are saying that they need to be paid.
I'm coming, man.
Okay.
If you are fighting the government,
Uh-huh.
you have an admin. That
Okay.
your admin can take the government to the court.
Okay.
You understand me? Why do you continue?
Why
You
what?
understand me?
Okay.
Why do you continue?
Why did what
now,
continue?
why the school
Why did school continue?
Yeah.
I don't understand. No, I don't understand, please.
What I'm saying is that we are going and take the federal government to court. Come here. Hello.
I am listening to you. I just need to understand what you're trying to say.
What I'm saying is that they are going and take the federal government to court. You understand me here? Why they are still at work?
All right. What I'm trying to, I don't understand what you're trying to say, but I think what you're trying to put out there is that you heard when Daly was talking about ASU strike, the consistent ASU strikes that we're experiencing. I think that's the aspect that you heard, and then you were trying to say that the federal government, ASU is at fault or something. Well, I don't understand in what perspective you're coming from, but ASU was the federal government was the one that took ASU to the National Industrial Court. The National Industrial Court gave their own mandate. ASU as well appealed. So ASU did not take the federal government to court. It was the federal government that actually took the case to court, saying that, ASU has, maybe they've refused to come to an agreement on what they would do concerning, easing off the strike that was currently bedeviling the country at the time. All right. Anyways, maybe you can call back so you can help us understand what you want to say better. 0700 903 903 9039. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome to the program.
What the man is trying to say is that when
you didn't tell us your name and location, please.
My name is Oladimiji.
All right, Oladimiji. Okay. All right.
So the administration supposed to sue the federal government to court.
Okay.
Why the lecturer will continue their working.
Okay.
That's what the man means.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for clarifying that. All right. So 0700 903 903 903. So in other words, ASU could have continued to teach while they take the federal government to court. But we've had situations over time where before the strike gets embarked upon by the lecturers, they actually, continue to tell the federal government that, hey, you're not listening to our demands. The agreements were signed. You're not responding to them. You're not doing anything about it. You seem to be nonchalant and lackadaisical about it. And so ASU feels that the only way through which they applied could be listened to or understood better is when they embark on the strike. Possibly that we'll begin to see some action from the federal government. I think that's basically what the scenario was all about. However, paying the salaries that were not paid to the lecturers, which is that no work, no pay salaries, what the federal government is saying, that they will not pay ASU and the lecturers their money because they did not work. They will only pay them for the times that they worked. And ASU is saying that that is not fair on them, considering the fact that a lot of them, suffered during the time of the strike, and quite a lot of them actually going through some, peril at the moment. All right, 0700 903 903 903 0700 903 903 903. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Please kindly turn off the audio of your radio, please.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning. How are you, sir?
Yeah, fine. This is John Legend calling from.
John Legend, welcome to the program.
Yeah, I don't know why APC are complaining concerning their manifesto that these people copied their manifesto or what. What we need in Nigeria is not to repair roads. Give us education, good education. Give us light, infrastructure, make things work. That is the manifesto. That's what we need now. Is there another thing that we need? They are saying that the Labour Party copied their manifesto. That is typical lie. Even if the Labour Party copied their manifesto and they did not do what they're supposed to do. Now, if Labour Party is ready to do it for us, that's what we follow. Because you can see that, because what I understand that the APC don't have anything to say. If Bola Ahmed Tinubu has something to say, let him come to Arise TV. Let people ask him questions. Let him stop running away from us. Let him come out
He doesn't necessarily have to come to Arise TV. Arise TV is owned by an individual. It's a private media organization. So he doesn't necessarily have to go to Arise Television. But if it is conducted by maybe the People's Town Hall Meeting, by a different organization that represents the people, there's a possibility that Bola Ahmed Tinubu would attend. Or Editors Guild organize one of those things, then there's a possibility he would attend. But he has a right, I would say, I'm not defending him, to say, okay, I'm not going to attend to a particular media's town hall meeting if he perceives there's a sense of bias. I'm just saying he has a right to decline. So in that aspect, I don't know, but considering the backlash on the Labour Party's manifesto, that's basically it. They are saying that the Labour Party's manifesto is basically a regurgitation of what the APC put out there as their own blueprint as to how they intend to go about governing the country. So that's what the reaction we're actually talking about this morning. In what sense is it regurgitated? What is the copycat move there about? Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Hello, morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Nice to have you back.
I'm fine.
Sure, this is Moses from Papa.
Moses from Papa. Okay, go ahead, please.
I heard you converse with the last caller.
Okay.
Particularly the whole coming out to talk to the press and the media. You were making reference to the fact that Arise TV is a privately owned network,
Yes.
which I quite agree with you. But
Yeah.
Chatham House a government-owned?
Okay.
Chatham House is also a privately owned place. Do you understand? Let's just, for the life of me, stop giving excuses where there isn't supposed to be one.
Okay.
He's been evading talking to the Nigerian press, to the local press, for long now. Yeah, it's no news. Yeah, and you also made reference to the fact that if the Editors Guild and the Editors Guild do
Invite
approach him, he would come over.
There is a tendency. I said there is a tendency he may attend.
Yeah, these are bodies. Yeah, like these are national bodies.
Yes,
isn't it?
yes.
Now, how come he was in that regard? How come he was nowhere to be found at the NBA conference?
Okay.
The Nigerian Bar Association. How come he was nowhere to be found there?
He said he traveled. I think he was in also another inauguration somewhere.
I remember, that was his first. Listen, I'll tell you what here. Over time, that has been the excuses from him and his camp and whatnot. At least pertinent issues. Like this thing is so clear. He's been dodging the Nigerian press. I forget all of those charade about one media organization being biased and all of those. Listen, I'll tell you what.
I said he considers, if he considers a media organization to be biased, that's what he said at the Chatham House. A question was asked about that, and he responded to the fact that he will not be used to be made as a means of making money. So he can decide what to accept and what to decline.
That reference is a total slap on the face of Nigerian media.
Okay.
Whose money is he even talking about? What money exactly? Make money off you? Like in what sense?
He said he's a brand and he's marketable.
This is supposed to be your statutory duty to you people,
All right.
to the people of this country.
All right. Thank you.
Making money off anybody. Don't forget, the media is the mouthpiece and the earpiece of the people. So if you're making reference to that fact that someone is making, I tell you what.
I was expecting you to say how comes he did not attend the town hall meeting, which is from the one from National Television Authority. I was expecting you to say that.
I'll still be there. I'll still get to that place. Yeah. But listen, all of these things, all of these excuses are so infantile from him and his camp. Trust me. Like, we know the truth. We know the script. We've seen that before. You understand?
Okay.
Even if you're nurturing that sort of hatred or unlikeness, if there's any word like that here on a particular media house, how about the others?
All right.
Arise TV isn't the only media body that has been organizing town hall meetings.
What about the NTA? At least that one is
been doing the same. So
is a government-owned TV station.
So how come you've not been anywhere near those ones?
All right.
You only making reference to Arise. Listen, some of the planning.
Oh, All right. We're running out of time. I need to read out some comments on YouTube. This is from Joseph Igama. APC and Tinubu are intimidated by the quality of Peter Obi's manifesto, and that's the reason for the unreasonable attack on it. I have read it through and through, and it made lots of sense. Thank you, Joseph, for that. He also says, and the most important thing is that Peter Obi and Dati Baba Ahmed have the character and the competence to match words with action. APC clearly has no chance in the forthcoming elections. Thank you. And Olayinka Volmont says, why APC cannot face their own problem? Mecca Barra says, also should teach while they are going through the legal process. Only in Nigeria, here in the UK, train drivers, nurses, and other professionals are going on strikes for increment of pay or benefits. All right. Thank you so much for all of that comment right on here on YouTube. And it's a wrap on the program today. Do join us tomorrow for another interesting conversation that we're having right here on East in the News. My name is Esther Wachuko. Thank you for your calls and thank you for your messages. I really do appreciate them. Follow us on all our social media platforms at VOP 903 FM. All right. Do have a fantastic day.